All right, guys, another singer has joined the Billionaire Club. This one doesn't surprise me. Beyonce.
I'm surprised she hasn't joined earlier.
I know, that's kind of what I was thinking. She's the 5th musician to reach the milestone. I guess that makes sense. You would think that there'd be more out there, but I guess like Elvis, Michael Jackson, like those were back in the day. They probably would today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but yeah, the others are her husband, which one of the biggest power couples in the world.
How does that work?
T Swift, who was just recently billionaire, last year after the tour. Bruce Springsteen.
That one surprises me.
I mean, he is the country guy.
Because
right?
when I think about musicians being billionaires, I think about having to have ventures outside of music.
Yeah, but a lot of them don't.
Well, I'd say most of them have to, right? Like you have to get
either a clothing line or, in Rihanna's case, a beauty line.
She has a beauty line. But when you think about it, when Rihanna did the Super Bowl halftime, you don't realize how many hits she has.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I knew every single song.
Yeah, and you have to think about each time that they're replayed or just on someone's playlist.
Or downloaded or anything like that, they're making money on it. But she does have the makeup line, which I feel like probably helps. And when you already have a name for yourself, people want to buy those products.
Yeah, in the case of Beyonce too, I'm sure, I don't know a ton about her, but Jay-Z's invested in a lot, so I'm sure she probably invested some of that same stuff too.
So I guess it didn't count, they don't have the joint account for this? Because if he was already a billionaire, you would think that she would be, right?
Well, I think maybe if there's more, the Renaissance World Tour grossed nearly $600 million.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so her tours are really helping her. And then I guess the recent country album, I totally forgot about that, Cowboy Carter.
So it's always, when I was in high school, I created a bucket list of performers I wanted to see in concert. And Beyonce was one of them because I feel like she just puts on such a good show. And I have friends who have gone to her concerts and they've said it's just incredible because she can sing, she can dance, she can do it all, right?
Yeah.
And then I've heard the stage production just gets bigger and better every tour she does. But I didn't realize it made this much money because it was kind of going on the same time as the Eras tour, but she didn't do near as many shows as the Eras tour.
Yeah, definitely more specific spots. But those 5 that we mentioned, those 5 artists are among 22 billionaire entertainers that Forbes has identified. And again, it was because of successes like the Renaissance Tour, grossed $600 million the following year. She reinvented herself with the country album, Cowboy Carter. And then the tour of that album was the world's highest grossing concert tour of 2025.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot she went on tour for Cowboy Carter, for being honest.
Yeah, so it's definitely, and when you think about, like I said, like we were talking about, having these things outside of, that's why for Bruce Springsteen, I was a little bit surprised. Is that just concerts and, selling records?
I bet he has side ventures we don't know
I mean, everyone's got to, right? Because I feel like a music alone can maybe get it for a few. But you got to have, those other investments.
Well, and I bet a lot of them, maybe even just put it in the stock market because they have that money. I don't know. We're going to look into this Bruce Springsteen thing because I really want to know now.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I kind of am too. But, hey, good for Bruce.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Danny, have you ever been to this? Friday afternoon. Minnesota Fair opened the Minnesota Ice Castle. Okay, tell us about it.
Okay, so this hasn't been actually that long of a standing tradition, at least at the fairgrounds. This is at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds, which if you've never been to the Minnesota State Fair, it's up there with the Texas State Fair if you've ever been to that. So it's very highly regarded, and I would say it's very, very must go to. But basically, during the coldest time of the year, as you might expect, they carve these ice castles. And this one in particular is about 25 million pounds of ice. So usually they start after Thanksgiving. That's when it really starts to cool down. And unfortunately, weather can be a little bit of a nuisance. So thankfully this past year, though, for them, they've got a ton of snow in November and early December. So they were able to create these quite a bit. And so usually they'll tack on, you saw the sign there, 10,000 icicles daily to make sure they're in place. So they have this from late December to early January. So that's at the State Fairgrounds. And then they have the St. Paul Winter Carnival, which is late January to early February, and they make more ice castles, more ice sculptures like you're seeing there. So you kind of get 2 events in the span of a month with these ice castles.
So those icicles right there, those are just created from the daytime warmth? Or, because that's what I'm trying to figure out, because those look, maybe that's the daytime warmth that's creating that, but how do you make sure that those icicles don't fall on someone?
Yeah, that I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure, obviously, they've been doing this for 15 years. I'm sure, they have very smart engineers to do this. But I'm sure there probably is, some sort of, cooling mechanism within the castle. But it was very cool to go and see. And I mean, I don't know if anyone would go to Minnesota, but if you can, I would recommend, because not only that, or the St. Paul Winter Carnival and the Minnesota State Fair. That's an aside.
Okay, I need to know, how long does this last? Like, would y'all go on field trips here as kids?
No, so this is during winter break. So
Okay.
this ends, I think, like in a week or so.
Oh,
So
they don't
probably
keep it for the cold.
No, because they have it only last. I mean, you can only have it up for so long, and again, weather can be unpredictable. Because then again, as I mentioned, they have another one in late January, early February for the St. Paul Winter Carnival. So they have kind of like 2 in the span of 2 months.
So is it like there's different rooms and stuff? Like, do you
Yeah.
walk through it? Is it interactive?
Yeah, I mean, you saw there a little bit too. Like they have like slides you can go down, and it's interactive. And then they also have like sculptures surrounding it as well. And the sculptures are the bigger part of the St. Paul Winter Carnival, but overall, it's just very cool. It feels mystical almost when you're walking inside it.
You know, I don't like the cold, but I feel like something like that would make it better.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it'd probably be ideal to go like right around freezing. And
Oh, the slide's fun.
Yeah.
yes, and the reason why they do it this time of year, as you may expect, it's the coldest time of the year. So the average high in the Twin Cities in January is like the lower 20s, and the overnight lows are in the single digits. So obviously that's optimal for those icicles. But yeah, no, would highly recommend. And again, yeah, it's fairly new. This is at least only been going on for 15
Yeah,
years.
and they said the best time to be viewing it is at night, and you can see why, because when it looks so much
the
cooler when the
lights.
lights are hitting it, or maybe inside
Yeah.
it looks like you can almost see inside of it. Yeah,
That's fun. So y'all go as a family?
Yeah, went with his family a couple of times, but yeah, I might have to go back sometime.
You gotta take the nephew.
No, oh, he'll go, I'm sure.
He'll love it. Take him down the slide.
Yes.
All right, stay with us. We'll have more after this.